we were talking about how some parents said that they start the talk at 13, right? So we both know that's a little bit late. So what do you think? Why do you think relationships and sexuality education should start from birth onwards?
It does, absolutely. And we are doing, whether we're deliberately doing it or not, we are talking to our kids and teaching our kids those skills from birth. We're role modelling at home about what makes a positive relationship. We're talking to our kids about friendships all the time, and friendships are just the starts of developing relationship skills. So I think if we take again the kind of the sex part of it out and just think we're building skills and we're building knowledge in our kids about how to relate to people, and we overlay that as they get older about more things that are more sexual in nature, but we start with the really non-sexual things. It's really easy to teach consent in a very non-sexual way. Just you should have someone's consent for holding their hand or giving them a hug. Completely non-sexual things, and you can build that in later. And what we know is our teenagers shut down when they get to around that 13. And so we want to give them all that information before they get there, so that when they come up against situations, they've got those skills and knowledge to use already.
And that information starts quite young, but then you're constantly building those knowledge and skills. So it shifts, doesn't it, with our teenagers to much more conversations around, so what do you think about that? Well, how do you make sense of that? And I think about my own teenagers now, and the conversations we have were the foundation of those conversations was before 5. Right. So now we have conversations like, so what do you think about what's on TV, what's the news, what's your ideas around the latest thing that's happening in the media around something or other? I think that's really fundamental.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can also look at teaching these types of skills and knowledge just in really small bites. We don't have to do the big talk. And just grab those everyday situations like you were saying. You're watching something on TV with them and you go, oh, so if someone did that to you, what would you do? If you were in a relationship with someone and they spoke to you like that, what would be your response? Or if you're seeing a couple of teenagers in a mall and they're getting the kind of public affection a little bit wrong, maybe, and you can say, oh, so is that the way you'd behave in public with someone, or is that more of a private thing? And you can teach public and private like that really, really easily and start, like you say, really low level with young ones and build it up, and you just overlay more situations that are age appropriate for them.
And the key thing though, isn't it, as they age, is making sure they can ask and finding out what they want to know. And I'll give you an example. So I was talking with some young people and they had been watching the series Sex Education. And that was a great series for a lot of young people. And there was a whole wide range of things happening in that series. And when I was discussing it with a group of young people, some of them wanted to know certain things about sex that they'd talked about, but lots of others just wanted to know about why they had such a dysfunctional relationship between the father and the son. But if I hadn't asked them what they wanted to know, I could have been teaching them or talking about something that wasn't relevant. And with our own children as well, how many times have we had conversations where our children have said something, it's like, oh, I didn't know they were thinking about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we don't know what stage our kids are at unless we ask them.
Exactly.
We might make assumptions that, oh, they're this age, so they know this or they don't know this. But actually, unless we actually ask, we don't know where they're at. And that's the best way, I think, of teaching someone something is to ask them a question. So what do you think about? Because the answer they give tells you the level that they're at. And then you just need to add in this much more information.
Or ask, is there anything else you want to know? Did that answer your question? Or, I don't know about that. Shall we go and see if we can find out?
And I think make it a really just natural thing to do, so that your kids are sitting around the table at dinner time and just talking about relationships and talking about sexuality and talking about attraction and all those sorts of things, and that it doesn't feel like a big thing. It's just an everyday topic that you have, because then they keep coming back and asking you questions and having conversations with you.
But what about when parents say, oh, it's just too hard, I feel too uncomfortable? What do we tell parents then?
Yeah, I think that's a tricky one, because lots of parents do feel uncomfortable. And I've always said to parents, look, practice. If you feel uncomfortable about something, or you're not too sure what to say, have a practice about, what do I think about this thing? What would I say about this thing if my child asked me a question about that? And then actually say it out loud so that you're used to using those words, because that makes you feel more comfortable. Because if our children If we make them feel comfortable when we're having those conversations, they're more likely to want to have those conversations with us.
And the key there is also, for me and my research, is saying embrace that feeling of uncomfortableness, because we all feel that throughout our lifetime as adults. We might be starting a new relationship. It is uncomfortable. So you're role modelling with your child, look, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, but hey, I'm glad you asked. Or, hey, that's a great question. Can I think about that? Or, hey, thanks for asking. And then what do you think? Because at least then it's allowing that conversation to happen. And I think that's a key point. With relationships and sexuality education, what we say is be open to communicating. So rather than just saying being open and honest, open to communicating means let's have a conversation rather than just being open and honest and I tell you what I think. I think that's fundamental, isn't it?
Yeah.